You've paid for land, you have your receipts, you even have your allocation letter, but you've not gotten your deed of assignment or deed of conveyance yet. Why? So in this video today, we're going to talk about why you don't get your deed immediately after buying land in some estates in the city of Abuja. One of the biggest surprises for first-time buyers in the city of Abuja is the fact that they get their receipts, they get allocation, they even get allocated physically, but their deed of conveyance or deed of assignment comes in later. So the question is, why do some developers do this? But here's what most buyers expect. A lot of people assume that once I buy land, especially in Abuja, then I should receive a receipt, I should have my land allocated to me, and then I should have my deed of conveyance or deed of assignment given to me. And the moment this is not done, they are surprised and they begin to question why this happened. So why do some developers do this, especially right here in the city of Abuja? Many developers are not only selling plots of land, they are building communities. They want well-developed neighborhood. They want growing infrastructure. They want communities where people can live. They want high property value. And these are some of the things that actually add to the value of property. Now imagine that you buy land in an estate, and right inside this estate your land has stayed for over 5 years, but yet nothing is happening. We've heard of stories where a lot of people buy land and they complain, oh, I bought land from this developer, it's been 10 years, and the only thing the developer has done is fence that land, put a gatehouse, and then abandon the entire project. So most developers, especially here in the city of Abuja, do not want this, because these do not add to the property, to the value of property. But imagine living in a community, even when before you've erected your structure, you could see that buildings are coming up and that community is growing, and you can experience that lifestyle right there in the estate. This is exactly what some developers want. And as a result, most times they even include certain clauses in the terms and conditions that come with purchase. Now they let you know that you have a period of time. For some, they'll say 12 months, for some, they'll say 36 months, for some, they'll say 24 months. And when you buy in estates that are, let's say, 60 to 70% already developed, those ones will even give you shorter time. They'll tell you things like, oh, you're supposed to erect your structure from 6 months to 12 months, you're supposed to erect your structure at least up to the roofing level. Now, these terms and conditions are just to ensure that your goal aligns with what the developer wants in that estate. Okay. So once you make payment here, you receive some documents, and the first thing you receive is your acknowledgement receipt. In fact, before you receive your acknowledgement receipt, the developer or the seller gives you what we call an offer letter. Now, an offer letter includes the terms and conditions that you have to meet, and also the ones that the developer needs to meet, right? And if you agree with this, you go ahead and make your payment. Now, upon payment, you receive your receipt of acknowledgement. Now, after receipt of acknowledgement, you receive what we call allocation letter. And for some companies, they give you what we call a contract of sale. Now, all of these are valid documents, and they prove that you own that property. They prove that you own the land. And also, the developer expects you, or there are terms and conditions or clauses, like I mentioned earlier, which includes you developing your land to a certain level. It includes you meeting certain terms and conditions, like payment terms and conditions, and as well comply with the building guidelines given to you by the developer and the government. Now, at this stage, sometimes when you get up to 70% of your building, the developer also issues you another ownership document, and in some cases it could be your deed of conveyance or your deed of assignment. Now, here is what every property buyer should do. Before you make payment, ensure that you read the terms and the conditions line by line, word by word, and understand ask questions before you proceed with your payment. Find out the terms and conditions you need to meet before you be issued any ownership document. Also, ask questions like, what document will I receive after making payment, so that when you make payment, none of these will come as a surprise to you. So before today, did you think a deed of assignment was issued immediately after purchase right here in the city of Abuja? So here is a take home. Every property you're buying has its own documentation process. So before you buy, find out what the property documentation process is before you proceed with making payments. If you got value today, would like to know in the comments. And if you need more of these, of how, or have questions regarding to these, all you have to do is call that number you're seeing on screen right away, or you can as well send us a DM, and we will be glad to see you through. See you soon.